I request Bearwell now. Our students are at join. Already, as we discussed in the previous class. Good afternoon to one and all, those who are directly or indirectly engaged in this class, right? So, in the previous class, I have discussed about the various aspects that are relating to employee grievance. Let us briefly go through it, and then let us go into the another aspects of employee discipline now. So, steps in this process and all. So, the grievance procedure and all, we have discussed about how to identify what is exactly the meaning of grievance and what are the causes of grievance, what are the effects of the grievance, and what are the modes of the grievance, and what is the grievance causes, and what is the impact of grievance over the this one. This concept we discussed in the previous class. Actually, grievance is the major important point where there is a discontent or disagreement between the people, and it is different in several ways that some of the definitions are given as any discontent or dissatisfaction among the employees in the work organization. So it is dissatisfaction or discontent in the either maybe between the management and all. So how better you can reduce the grievance that gives a sound strength towards the industrial relationship. Then what are the causes of grievance? Actually, the main important factors, I hope I am audible. If any student is there, please join and then take it into advantage of that. I request any one of you at least join and let me understand whether you are able to listen these concepts well or not. And economic causes are basically wage fixation, wage competition, overtime bonus, employees, and so on. So, what are the main causes of grievance are the economic causes. Whenever the wage fixation or wage competition is going on, normally always the employees expect higher amount of wages, whereas the management wants to lower their burden in that particular point of view. So, whenever you are talking about this one, let me, yeah. So grievance redressal procedures and all. So in this particular process, whenever economic causes are there, the problem of grievance arises especially because of the economic causes. Most of the grievances that comes under this particular point. So people are not satisfied with their wages or what is their overtime, how much bonus is given to them, and all these people, all the employees will have a negative aspect about this particular issue. So employees feel that they are getting lesser than what they ought to get. So it is normal complaint or normal situation that each employee feel that we are contributing a lot to the organization, whereas they are giving lesser and lesser to us. This is the another important area. Then coming to the working conditions, work environment. Poor working conditions, working environment, defective equipment, tools, etc. They are the another important cause which for the purpose of the grievance. Then supervision, disposition of the boss towards the employee, perceived notation, nepotism, bias, regional feelings, caste affiliations, etc. These are the nowadays it is going on very higher and higher level. Always a boss point out one or the another person, he will feel that he will feel that he is stressed or stressed so much, or he is targeted so much, and all. This type of situations always causes a grievance to the individual employee. Then work group, that strained relations are incompatible with the peers and so on. So our work organization, rigid and unfair rules, too much and too less of responsibility, lack of recognition, all these aspects will also cause the grievance. And various misdemeanors also causes like disciplinary rules, what are the fines that are imposed on the people, and what is the granting of leaves. If an employee is not granted with any leave facility whenever he has in their need, certainly it leads to the grievance for them. Medical facilities provided may not be adequate or sufficient to them for that purpose, and so on and so forth. This is another important area. Next, modes of grievances is another. That is already we discussed in this one. Individual grievances relating to some individual, group grievances which are related to entire group they are facing a problem. Then union grievance, when the agreements are or the contracts which are not adopted or which are not implemented by the management, then it leads to the union grievances. Then what are the features of the grievance? Already we have discussed. What is the effects of the grievance is the most important question in the examination point of view also. From the production point of view, if there is a grievance, it gives the low quality in nature. Let me go for the simple one, snapshot. Tool. 25th day. So so whenever we are talking about this particular event, so what will be the impact of grievance on the what will be the impact of grievance on the this what will be the impact of grievance on the production point of view? That is one important area we need to understand. Then we need to understand what is the impact of production. If the production, if the employee is not satisfied, or if the employee is having a grievance, then in such a case, he will not be able to give more amount of production activity, and as a result of that, he will not be able to produce to the maximum ability or maximum capability. So in such a case, we yes, Brahim, thank you. Now you join. So what are the grievances in that, and how best the grievances are going to? That is the important element is that from the employee point of view, or from the employee point of view, low quality of production, low quantity of production process, and so on and so forth. This is another important area. Yes, hello, hello. Then, in the previous class already, we have understood about this concept. What is the possibility of grievance? How the grievance is going to affect the situation, and what are the various? Right. Then inside, let me share again. Going on. In this point, from the production point of view, the low quality of production will be there in that. Then the quantity of production also. and increase the wastage of the material and so on and so forth. From the employee's point of view, this is the major important area. Increase the rate of absenteeism is another important point, and as a result of that, the various problems also will come, and including accidents also may happen because if an unsatisfied worker, if he is taking up the job. If he is taking up the job, then in such a case, it needs to be problems on that. And it strains the superior subordinate relationship and increases the degree of supervision and also control the follow-up action. Increase of indiscipline cases and rest. All these are the major important causes of the, especially in case of the grievance process. Methods of identifying the grievance is also another important question where it will be, that is direct observation. Is if you observe an employee, a strained or a person who is facing a problem, then be understood easily and he can discuss with the manager directly. That is direct observation point. And grip boxes are the another important tool. The grip boxes are placed easily on these various accessible spots, and any employee who is facing a lot of problems, he may file a complaint and dissatisfaction and expressing dissatisfaction through this particular box. It is very easy for the employee also because his name and other things need not be mentioned, or otherwise he also can do that one. This method is more appropriate in case of organizations where there is a lack of trust and understanding between the employee and supervisor. Normally, if the employee and supervisor are very close to each other or in acceptable nature, then there is no question of any grievance. But at the same time, they can also manage orally, or sometimes the employee can give a complaint to the employer or otherwise supervisor. But when the employee is not confident that the supervisor will not cooperate with his grievance, then this type of grip box will be a useful point. Then coming to the open door policy. In the case of open door policy, demands that the employees open door policy that the employees even in the case of the one, the employees open door policy, the employees even the lowest rank should be have access to the chief executive to get the grievance redressal. In most of the software companies, this type of process will be going on. Anybody can send a mail, anybody can send a WhatsApp message to the very higher level of authority. And when the open door policy is executed, employees will feel better satisfied because their grievances are addressed at the higher and higher levels of the organization. Then coming to the exit interview. When anybody is leaving the organization, he can give a better feedback mechanism on that. Always a person leaving the organization, if he is given an opportunity to listen, opportunity to understand, then in such a case, he will provide the better suggestions and also what are his grievances, he will openly tell, and that will help us to understand organization weaknesses also. And last one, opinion surveys are also a better way to understand the grievance point. And grievance procedure and all, these are already aspects we have covered. And the objectives of the grievance handling procedure is very important. What are the objectives of grievance handling mechanism, or how you are handling the particular grievances? And to enable the employees to air their grievances. So employees grievance redressal procedure basically helps us to go with the organization thought that employee must be provided to view their grievances to the higher level or submit their grievances to the higher level to, to clarify the nature of grievance also and to investigate the reasons for the dissatisfaction. Why the employee is dissatisfied? To that is one. To obtain the whole where possible or speedy resolutions is also possible. To make appropriate actions and ensure the promises kept on. So a grievance redressal procedure or grievance handling system must have all these qualities. Then only it will be said as a good and effective grievance redressal procedure. The main objective of grievance redressal procedure is to bring out the problems or difficulties or discontentment to the upper levels of the. And then benefits of grievance redressal procedure is simple. And this one, Steps in grievance handling procedure, that is quick action should be taken. That is very, very important area. If a grievance is expressed by an employee and it is not directly addressed at the very early stage, he will feel so much of dissatisfied, and as a result of that, and as a result of that, and as a result of that, definitely he will, if his grievance is ignored, he will feel that his grievance is ignored, and as a result of that, he will be demotivated and he will not be able to do the tasks better. So that is another important point. Then coming to that, how you are addressing the grievance is also important characteristic in that. Then another important area you have to give concentration on that one. That is called as gathering the facts. Every people gather the facts. What about the grievance? Sometimes the employees, whatever the grievance that is given, that may not be up to date. So then examining the causes of the grievance and discontentment, execution of the review, these are the other important areas where you have to understand. Then lastly, methods, this also model of grievance procedure is very clearly laid down. So in this particular process, aggrieved employee, that is departmental process, it should be done in 48 hours. Head of the department, grievance committee, chief executive, voluntary evaluation. These are the another important aspects what you have to understand. Then next, next we need to understand about the grievance renewal mechanisms and all that is done in the previous stuff. Now let us go for the concept that is considered as a very, very important and very, very essential concept, that is employee discipline. When we are talking about employee discipline, so actually what is the meaning of discipline and how it will be, just let me share again this one, because the screen it is not visible to me. No. This is employee discipline. Whenever we are talking about the discipline, it always starts or thinks about the control, punishment, activity, and so on. But it is not so right. Actually, discipline is to ensure that the rules and regulations of the organization must be adopted. If the main objective is to ensure that the rules of the organization, the rules of the organization are very much followed upon. That is one. Next, another important aspect. Then employee discipline, the meaning of employee discipline here, discipline can save the organization from the possible negative effects that may arise due to strikes, low productivity, and internal external environments. Whenever the employees are dissatisfied, then they will go for the strikes and all. When discipline factors or discipline actions are very much clear and very much stringent, then automatically employees will try to abide by the rules and regulations of the organization. Discipline manage what is actually discipline can be stated as management action to encourage the compliance with the organizational standards. If an employee has to produce something, he has to. Then form of training that seeks to correct and module the employee's knowledge and attitude behavior so that the workers strive towards willingly better cooperation and procedures for that particular. Procedure that corrects and punishment punishes the subordinate because the rules and procedures have been violated. If any employee obey the rules, it's good. If the employee does not obey the rules, then automatically it must resort to the punishment action. As a result of that, any sort of rule violating procedures will be cut down. These are the important aspects. Definition aspect you can read. A force that this second definition is easy to understand or teach your own. The discipline may be considered as a force that prompts an individual or group to observe the rules, regulations, standards, procedures deemed by necessary for the organization. In so much of appointment orders also we see all the rules and regulations from time to time they must be adopted by the employee. That is always there. whatever the rules, whatever the regulations, standards, procedures established by the organization, they must be followed by the employee without any exemption. That discipline refers to a condition in the organization where employees conduct themselves in accordance with the organizational rules and standards. This is the important definition aspect you can understand. And objectives of the discipline. Why discipline procedures are important, or what are the major objectives of the discipline procedure? First one, to obtain a willing acceptance of the rules. If the discipline procedure is not adopted, employees will not accept the rules and regulations of, of the organization. So, to obtain the willingness and acceptance of the rules and regulations, procedures of the organization, so that the organizations can achieve their goals. To impart the element of certainty despite several differences in the informal behavior of the employee. Normally, each employee will have his own type of behavior, but his own individual behavior, in case of informal behavior, two minds are equal. So, in the help of with the discipline procedure, the various differences between the informal behaviors of the employees can be brought into one single ground. To develop around the employees a spirit of tolerance and desire to make adjustment to that. So given and seek direction, responsibility of the employees. So always the direction and responsibility of the employees will be there with the disciplinary action. To create an atmosphere to respect the human personality and human relationships. These are the main objectives. And need and importance of the discipline. The main important points only we are covering about in this particular class. Need and importance of the discipline. The very first point is the good working conditions. When discipline is implemented strictly, all the employees must respect the follow the rules and regulations of the discipline organization. If employees are disciplined, harmonious environment can be maintained in the organization, which requires trust, cooperation, and respect among the employees, and so on and so forth. Then standard job performance will be there in that. So, in this particular procedure, standard job performance, all the employees, all the discipline major, all the employees are discipline major, they are aware of the job responsibility, they are not involved in any unnecessary activities, they need cooperative and better performance. That is, standard job performance can be expected from all the employees when the discipline procedures are clearly indicated and mentioned. As a result of that, it becomes possible to attain the job performance standards very easily. Then follow up and rules and regulations are set. Then from the attainment of a specific job objective, organizations formulate the rules and procedures in that. So if the rules and regulations are mainly meant for the organizational discipline, everybody has to come to the college by 9:30 means they have to come. That's all. They cannot deviate the rule. If everybody is deviating the rule, automatically organizational effectiveness will go off. So all the discipline procedures, rules and regulations always helps to follow up the organizational objectives, and as a result of that, they will give good results in the organizational activities. By fulfilling the legal social obligations, organizations can perform its activities. So even sometimes legal requirements also may be there. So that legal requirements also can be better satisfied with the help of the discipline procedure. Establishing good relationship in the organization. So discipline helps the organization to maintain good relations with the external agencies also. Attitude, behavior of the disciplined employees can easily inspire the organizations by the supervisory bodies. If all the employees are disciplined, they are doing good job and they are performing better in the organization, and there is no strike, there is no quarrels, then that organization will be given a higher weightage than the other things. So these are the various important points, importance of the discipline. Then types of discipline is that. Here, this is a very important question. So how to inculcate discipline among the employees? That is one. So how to inculcate upon? So negative discipline is the first. Normally, almost all in 70 to 80% of the cases, this only will be taken up. So it involves a force or outward influence. It is a traditional aspect of discipline, and it is identified with ensuring the subordinates strictly to adhere to the rules. Otherwise, punishments will be initiated. So, in this particular point of view, discipline is if any disobedience among the employees, or if any non-compliance of the procedures, non-compliance of the practices, etc., then in such a case, indiscipline will be considered, and all the indiscipline actions will be attracted by the negative discipline models, that is punishments, retrenchments, stopping of increment, and so on and so forth. Then positive discipline is another one. In this particular type of discipline, subordinates comply with the rules, not with the fear of punishment, but from the desire to cooperate with the achieving of the common goal. This is actually a motivated employee. He will know what is his activity, what he is intended to perform, and how he has to get his job done, how he has to do his job, and so on and so forth. A highly motivated employee, a dedicated employee, always will feel that yes, I have to contribute something to the organization for the achievement of the common goal, like that. If positive discipline or willingness to comply is very, very important, so he must be motivated. This emphasizes here is the cooperative efforts to secure the compliance of organization. It promotes emotional satisfaction instead of emotional conflict, and increased cooperation can be given in that. So discipline as a self-control. Discipline at one level means training the correction action. So one person means he has to be controlled by himself. Then it is easy for him. So self-discipline is very much essential, effectively and efficiently achieving the organization. But this is a highest level of motivational factor in the employees. Normally, this type of self-control, positive discipline are possible only in the higher levels of authority, not in the lower levels of employment. So normally, every lower level employee, they are better. It is better for them to go with the negative discipline punishment approach. Sometimes it may good for the positive discipline also. These are the important problems related to discipline. What may happen if discipline procedures are not followed? What may be the result of non-compliance of the discipline? Problems regarding attendance will come. So if any discipline procedures are not in force, the problems will come from the point of view of regarding the attendance. So absenteeism will be more. So discipline problems can be classified as under. One is the problems regarding the attendance. Attendance related to problems are indisciplined actions that may cause seriously to create infractions for the managers. Employees always will become absent. That is one. Employee remains absent in the organization without prior information or permission from the management of the company. He will just skip the job, that's all. Then automatically not only he, management and production system all will get influenced badly on that. And late present at the work. If an employee is not having a total dedication to the work environment, then he will be late present to the work. So always he will delay in attending to the job work. Early leaving of the job, this is opposite side of the coin, you can understand. Slow at work, so he will delay the work process in a slow manner, and as a result of that, he will leave the duty early than anyone. So then others are also causes are also will be there. So assign the response. Then second, problems regarding the job behavior. With just 1 second, any class issue? Yeah. Problems regarding the job behavior. In this, the problems always include carelessness, fighting attitude, and gambling, and failure to use the safety devices, etc. So during his job behavior, definitely he will not be taking care of his own self or his the machines, equipment, and so on. And disobedience of order. Disobeying the orders of the seniors or other supervisors always it takes place. And next, carelessness. No, not being sensitive about the job responsibility and misusing the sources is very, very much nature of the employees in this particular situation. Neglecting safety devices is the one. So not using the safety measures is another important point in there. And next, misconduct to misbehave with the seniors and juniors, consumers, suppliers, and all. They are not happy with the working environment. So their anger, their attitude, they will show to the employees, peers, colleagues, and so on and so forth. Not reporting about the accidents or unusual activity. If any unusual activity is there, they will become silent and they don't talk anything else, they don't tell anything else. That will become the problem. And misuse of the resources is most prominently taking up in this particular situation. And lastly, dishonesty related problems. Dishonest. Honesty is the best ornament of the employee. If they are genuine, if they are honest, then definitely they will be given a higher weightage in that. Dishonesty is another crucial discipline problem in the organization. They are dishonest. In the traditional resulted as one of the several discipline problems found in the organization. Stealing, theft, falsification of information are the examples of the dishonesty. Then stealing, to steal the goods or equipment of raw materials in the organization is a major important problem here. And avoid the work, not to bear the responsibility, or sometimes he will reject the job also totally. Information falsification, to give wrong information for fulfilling vested interests. So wantedly he will give the wrong information. Even though he know the information, he will falsificate and then he will give the information to the higher ups, basing on that he reach the wrong decisions. Fraud, to deceive the organization for the monetary benefit. For any problem, he will deceive the organization. And information leakage, to provide confidential information and technology to rival the organization, and he will go in there. Normally, information will be sold off to the competitors and so on. Others are there to provide employees for strike, to promote actually, to blame others unnecessarily, to be and so on and so forth. These are the various important problems that are related to dishonesty. Problems related to outside activities also. And unauthorized strikes are most prone towards this one. And the spying culture. So he will act as a spy to the other competitive institutions or organizations. They will send the sensitive information of the organization to the outside environment. Misusing resources of assets and the society and assets of the society. He will try to create any sort of, he will try to create the problems to the assets of the society. To address such problems, brief study of social background of the employees must be taken and done. Study the employee first. What is the characteristic nature? All this should be considered very important. And so after learning all this, what will be the disciplinary procedure to be adopted? So to bring out the discipline characteristic, what will be the procedure to be adopted? So issuing of a letter of charge. First issue employee the commit to understand, let the employee to understand what is the fraud or what is the discontentment he has done, what is the employee commitment towards that, how he is misconducting, then what is the disciplinary action and also. That is letter of charge. So charges misconduct should be clearly and precisely stated in the charge sheet. In the charge sheet, we ask for an explanation for the said delinquent act, and the employee should be given sufficient time to answer for it. Yes, why it can't be? Why disciplinary action cannot be raised against this one for a particular fact? That means in that particular letter, it will be given that an opportunity to be held from the undisciplined employee. Consider a question of explanation. So employee will be given an opportunity to consider give the explanation. Then after that, consider the explanation of the employee. On getting the answer for the letter of charge, then served against him, then in such a case, if his explanation is satisfactory, or if it is explanation is giving a true and fair information, then no disciplinary action need to be taken. When the management is not satisfied or the employee is giving a wrong explanation, then in such a case, they need to go further and give a show cause notice in that. Show cause notice is done. So, show cause notice is issued by the manager when he believes that there is sufficient prima facie evidence of the employee misconduct. When the supervisor or when the manager feels that yes, there is a fault with the employee, but he is deceiving or he is not giving any sign, this one, then in such a case, he will give a show cause notice. However, this gives employee another chance to account for his misconduct and charges made against him. Inquiry should be also be initiated for the first serving a notice and inquiry indicating clearly the name of the query officer, time, date, and place, etc. So again, we will have to give a notice to them. Then why you cannot be punished? Why the punishment action cannot be taken against you? Like the short notice. Even at this stage, also the employee can give sufficient information. Then holding of a full-fledged inquiry. After giving a charge sheet, after taking explanation, and also after giving a short notice, Then holding a full-fledged inquiry into the case or into the indisciplinary action. This must be conformity with the principles of the natural justice, and then it is employee concern must be given opportunity again for being held. When the process of inquiry is over, then findings are to be recorded properly. So in the case of inquiry committee, we will appoint some people to conduct inquiry into the issues of the indisciplined nature. So two or three members can be made as the employer, this one inquiry committee. Then whatever they identify by discussing with the employee, that is undisciplined employee, and at the same time other causes are also analyzed, and then making final order of the punishment. When disciplinary action is to be taken, when the misconduct of the employee is proved, while deciding the nature of the disciplinary action, the employee's previous record, precedents, effects of disciplinary action on employee, etc., have to be considered. So, in case of the punishment, if we give a punishment to the employee, that is final. So, all the various factors will be affected by this particular situation. So, the employee will feel that he has not done or he has must be given another opportunity and so on and so forth. So, these are the important things. Then, when once after taking the disciplinary action, a proper follow-up action has to be taken for the consequences and implementation of the disciplinary action should be noted, along with the motivation of the employee again. This is the another important step-by-step procedure for taking up the disciplinary action. So the most important question or short question will be approaches to discipline. How you can approach the discipline towards the discipline. There are three famous approaches to discipline. One is the hot stove rule. Second is a progressive discipline. Counseling and price approaches to the discipline. Out of this first question, hot stove rule is a very common and it is most interesting, and it will be a short question or sometimes it will be asked about the disciplinary approaches to that. So, in the case of hot stove rule, it states that disciplinary action should have the same characteristics as a penalty a person receives from touching a hot stove. The four characteristics are considered: warming up, immediate, consistent, and intense. Warming system. Before any behavior has occurred, a good management should have communicated the consequences of undesirable behavior. If so, first the manager should communicate the undesirable behavior. If you go with undesirable behavior, this will be the problem. That means a stove is hot. That's all. If you touch it, it will burn. That information should be given to the employee. An immediate burn. It means that indiscipline should be immediate. Should be immediate. When the discipline quickly follows an infraction, there is a connection between the two elements in the employee mind. There is less possibility of future interactions. When the action is taken immediately, then employees will be cautious and they don't go further and further. Consistency. Then consistent discipline, just as a bird will stove like all the people are treated equal and they must be given full judgment and there is no discrimination against anything. Impersonality, all the people will be treated, all the supervisors like or dislike, whether the supervisor is liked by the whether the supervisor likes the employee or dislikes the employee, then same disciplinary action will be initiated against them. So this is a very prominent approach towards the discipline. Then second one is the progressive discipline. Then this is progressive discipline. It is an approach in which the sequence of penalties is installed, each one slightly more severe than the previous one. The purpose is, if one punishment is given, if the employee is not getting corrected, then second one, third one. Each one will be a higher and higher level of punishment. The purpose of this approach is to give an employee or an opportunity to correct themselves before making any penalty further and further. Progressive discipline also gives management time to work with an employee to help for the correct infraction. So it is not only the way to correct the employee, but allows him to come out from that particular infractions. And it is also gives the management also time to take up the various activities and the conduct of the inquiries and so on. Then counseling approach of the discipline. This is an advanced approach actually. Most of the organizations are now doing counseling in this particular action. This approach is suitable when the employees are in highest level positions and they are and the dignity and image of the employees are not restrained, and then supervisor employee relations also remains undamaged or cooperative and constructive. Most of organizations they call with the employee and carry out a counseling activity with them. These are the important areas. Then Okay, these are the various important aspects in this, and with this reflexes factors to be considered with discipline. So, what are the various factors that are to be considered when disciplining the employees? So, seriousness of the problem is to be considered. So, actually, is the problem so serious? Is it to be noted? Is it dishonesty is to be brought out totally? And with it should be reported within to work for. If a person is coming late by 10 to 15 minutes of time, it is not a serious problem. How far he is working after coming to the organization is an important issue. Then duration of the problem. So have there been other discipline problems in past, or how long the total time span? Violations, violations are do not take place in vacuum. A first occurrence is usually viewed differently than the third, fourth, and fifth. If a person is constantly doing offenses, then whatever the discipline action we take, that will be different. And the first excuse always will be excused, and only just information will pass on to the employee. And frequency and maturity of the problem is also to be understood. Continuous infractions or continuous indisciplined behavior may require a different type of discipline from the employee to the isolated instances of misconduct. They also the point out. So, and extenuating the factors are also another important area. And degree of socialization. Then, a person who is new to the organization, normally there is a possibility of misconduct and misbehavior. Whereas an employee who is working in the organization from the last 20 years or so, then if he is indulging any sort of indiscipline, the situation should be different on that. So these are the various aspects you have to mention in the examination as well as to understand for your future course of action. History of the organization and discipline practice. Some organizations are tolerant, so they will tolerate the employees. They will tolerate the employee indiscipline factors, and some organizations will not allow the employees to follow any sort of disciplinary action. So management backing up. If the employee decides to take their case at a higher level, this is an important issue. If the management or the employees, if the employees decide to take their case to a higher level of the management, will you, as the manager, have reasonable evidence to justify? If the manager gives a serious action, then employees also will not keep quiet. They will take the matter to the higher level authority. So if a manager wants to punish a lower level employee, the lower level or aggrieved employee will go to the deputy manager or general manager level. Then in such a case, the manager's action must be justifiable. Are you having a proper evidence for the indiscipline? That is also to be studied. These are the various important elements to be understood in case of the discipline, employee discipline, and what are the actions to be and all. Then lastly, organizational discipline is another important area. The main features of organizational discipline. Now, till now, we understood about the individual employee discipline characteristic nature. Now we are talking about features of the organizational discipline. Training that expected procedures, specific characteristics, control the behavior resulting from disciplinary training. Then this one, a low systematic method to obtain a state of order based upon submission of rules. And types of organizational discipline are self-discipline, task discipline, group discipline, technology discipline, imposed discipline. These are the various aspects that everybody has to understand. Essentials of good disciplinary system, that is rules and performance criteria must be clearly laid down. Documentation of facts is very, very essential. Then then consistent response to the rules violation. What is the response? What is the rules violation? Training of the supervisor and prompt action is to be taken, and impersonal discipline action is to be taken, and reasonable penalties are to be laid down. So these are the various important aspects that are to be understood in case of this particular lesson. And thank you for your patience listening all the way. And if any of the students are joining in the class, that will be good because it will be a motivating factor. Okay, this is another important element we have to understand. Next lesson we will continue in the next class, that is collective bargaining. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the class.